Hello and welcome to Andy's Shed Live. This is series 10, episode number 26 for Sunday the 31st of July 2022. Hello there everybody and welcome to the show. It is, as we say, Sunday, and hope you've all had a good week out there. It's a busy one, shall we say, this week. Yeah. A really busy one this week, a really busy one coming up. We've got lots on this week. Absolutely lots. I'm just making sure the cameras are working properly. Ooh. Yeah. Does everything match up, or is there like a lag on the sound or anything, or is it all matching up okay? Let me have a little look on here and see if it's matching up as it should. Just making sure the cameras are working properly. Yeah, it's working. I think it's matching up on there. On my screen in front of me, it's not matching up. There's a lag, but it is matching up as it's going out. So that's fine. What's everybody saying in the chat? I've got the chat over here today, on my phone over here, because I've moved things around a bit. Who's here? Peter Blackburn's here. He says hello. Wesley's here. He says hello. Christopher's here. Peter says, is England going to win the women's football? I have no idea. No idea, and frankly couldn't care less. Sorry. Yeah, it's here, evening, what's this here, and Dominic's here as well. Dominic says it was not too far from the old Lancashire, Derbyshire and East Coast Railway at Lincoln the other day, so he's been getting out a bit. Hang on, things are going wrong. Christopher says he's been out filming. He sent a photo of the train, which I think he did. Don't it say just popping out? We'll be back in a bit. Right, where's he going? Where on earth is he going? Right, it's been a funny week this week. A lot of it's gone wrong this week. Well, I had a doggy visiting here the other day, and he chewed through the phone cable, the main phone cable that carries the phone line and the internet and everything. Chewed through it. So I had to reinstall a new phone cable that goes right the way around the house. BT's master socket box is on the front of the house, and I'm sat here in the back of the house, and this is where the router is and all that sort of stuff. So they always say, hey, you guys put your router on your master socket. Well, I can't because it's like miles away. So there's this phone cable that goes around the house that the dog chewed through. So I had to reinstall that this week. So hopefully that that cable that I had to reinstall is going to hold up for the duration this afternoon. Hopefully. So this afternoon, what have we got on this afternoon? We have got phones to do and stuff again this afternoon. I've been doing a bit more 3D printing. But I'm going to put that to one side for a minute. Because phones are continuing, but there's been a problem because with me messing with all the PAVX and that's down the side of me here, because I was installing this new cable, My trusty black phone that's been on the desk for years and years and years has packed up, and I think it's something to do with the line cord on it. So we are hoping tonight that we are going to be able to sort out the line cord on that black phone and also on this black phone. This is the upside down 706 clone that we've been looking at for a few weeks, and I said we wanted bits for still. We got it this far, we got it back together, we got it all cleaned up and back together this far, but still these bits, including a line cord on it. Well, that problem may now have been solved because this week a box arrived. Ta-da! This is the box that's arrived this week. Now, this box, it says, it's from a chap called Steve. It says, "Hi Andy, all leads have been tested and all good, more leads to follow. I live in a village called Bryn, 5 miles from Port Talbot. All the best from Steve." And in the box is line cords. Cool. Great line cords and things, and various other bits as well, and some of the other bits that are in the box are attached to the box with the stickiest glue you've ever seen in the world. What the hell is that glue? Some little escutcheons and the screws for the top of a 706. Can you see those? So hopefully we can get things back together a bit tonight. So we'll crack on, shall we? We'll see if we can install a line cord. Now the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to install a new line cord here on my phone that is on the desk normally, i.e. this one here, this one, because this, with it having the black cord on it, I had to do strange things with a bit of heat shrink at the end, because with it having an original black round cord on it, these don't crimp on to that original black round cord very well. So I'm going to take that cord off and try fitting something else. Hang on a minute. I've seen somewhere around here a extension cord. Here it is. I knew I had an extension cord here someplace. This will stop me having to. This will stop me having to keep going down into the corner here. Although we'll have to do it once to plug this extension in. One moment please, as Big Clive would say. Right. I've done it, so now I've got an extension cord that I can just put somewhere up over here and use to plug things into. Right, so I'll just try this phone that's been on the desk for a long time, and I'll just plug into this cord and see if it does anything. Oh, it's back working again. Oh, cool. It is a bit noisy on that connection, but it is working again. Right, okay. Okay. So that one's alright. So that's back to being a test phone then. So I'll now plug that in permanently again. Right. Another moment please while everything moves sideways slightly. Right, does it still work? Oh yeah, it does, right. That's very cool. So we can now start what we were going to do. Which is fit a line cord. Now these look like they are original grey line cords from when like 746s got turned into 8746s. These are the standard grey line cords that BT fitted, or Telecom as they were at the time fitted. And the crucial thing is they've got the correct fitting grommet for a 700 series phone on this end. So what we're going to do is fit one of these cords to this upside down phone, because you can see it's got a black grommet there with nothing in it. So we'll take that out and fit this. So that's the plan. Alright, let's get it in focus, and then you'll be able to have a little look. There we go. So as you know, last week we did a bit of soldering on the main circuit board of this, so that we didn't need the regulator board in it, because although the regulator board is probably good, where it clips into the regulator board on the main board of the phone, some of the little jaws that it slots into, some of those were sprained and one of them was broken and that. So we decided to work it as if the regulator board was in that way, so the regulator not in circuit. So the three middle connections of the 5 that the board clips into are just linked together. So what I did last week was I had the main board out of the phone and linked those together, so hopefully it'll work as if it's got the regulator out of circuit in it. Now the other thing here is we were missing a screw here. because this screw had to be cut off, this one, when we were first taking the case off this phone, because it was all corroded. So I'm hoping with the aid of my trusty old pliers here, we can get the remains of this screw out. Now, I've noticed my eyesight is just getting worse and worse just recently. Could probably do with going to Specsavers. I've never worn glasses, but I'm starting to think I might need to, because I'm just finding it increasingly hard to see all the little bits in these phones. What they don't tell you in the world is when you get to like 50, your body really starts to fall apart. So this is the shank of the screw with no head on, because I had to Dremel the head off of it to get the case off. And you say, well, if you can turn it, why do you have to Dremel the head off? Because I couldn't turn it initially, but I think the Dremeling off of the head has heated this up to such a degree that it's now become loose. So there's the broken bit. Now, Steve has sent some bits, but I'm wondering if what he's sent are the same. Right, here's what he sent. And these are the ones we want between these escutcheon things, because you need the screw and you need that little nut as well. And you've got to get that off, because we don't need the actual escutcheon here today, because we have, of course, got this metal thing. So the screw drops in there, hold it in, and then you can put on, hopefully, the nut. Once you've got it started, the hope is that you can hold it and screw it a bit from the outside. If only I could see what I was doing. Because that nut thing is retained. It's a shaped nut and a shaped screw, and it is retained in there. And basically it's just to act as a spacer, and also, you see, it's retained in there now to hold the screw in. So that's fine, that's all in there now. So I'll put that aside for a moment, and we'll start looking at a line cord, which I've got here, courtesy of Steve. And of course we've got the standard colours, green, white, red and blue in the line cord. And we're doing this as a converted phone, so we are basically bypassing the capacitor in the phone because the capacitor is now in the master socket here in the UK. So we need red up to T8 on here. I'm going to get a different screwdriver that might be a bit easier to use. It's slightly longer handle. Means I've got my box of refurbished screwdrivers here. So yeah, red up to T8. White goes to 16, 17, 18 and 19. And generally put it on 18. So that's where white goes. Remember, these terminals were all rusty and I did clean them up a couple of weeks back. So I'm hoping we've got them clean enough that they will conduct nicely. Now, green we don't use, so that needs to go on T15, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, because T15 has nothing on it, it's not connected to anything. So we just park green on T15. And blue we stick on T4 where the resistor is, of course. So you have to try not to mess up the resistor. And as you put that on, and that should hopefully now have done it. So hopefully now that phone is wired up. Hopefully. That's what we're hoping. So if I now plug this end in to the socket thing that I've got here, I will plug that in. Oh, and I heard a click in the handset, so that sounds good. So yeah, and I have got a dial tone in the handset. So what I'll do now is hold that down, dial tone goes away, and while I'm holding that down I ring on my other phone and hopefully it'll ring. And it does, it's ringing. So now I can let go of the switch hook and hopefully answer it. Hello, 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 hello. So now, so this is the phone that I'm working on. This is the phone that's always on my desk. So blow into the one that's always on the desk and listen on the one I'm working on. Yeah, that's working. Blow into the one I'm working on, listen on the phone that's on the desk. That seems to be working as well. So I think we've cracked it. So now I can put everything back together. So what we will do now is we will take out this grommet that's not doing anything, which of course we will keep. And if you notice, these are the opposite way around to what they normally are. Normally the line cord crosses over to this side, because if you think about it, most of the handset connections are over here on this half of the phone. This half of the terminals, The line cord is basically on this half of the terminals, but they normally swap them over. So the curly cord for the handset goes on this side, and then your line cord is normally wedged into this side. They normally swap them over, but this is not swapped over. So I'm going to do it the way it was. I'm not going to mess with it. I'm going to leave it the way it was, because that may be the way it was from the factory. I don't know. So we'll put that back in now, like that. And now we'll put the top back on. This phone, it says it's a TMC telephone T1600. With something. Recollector, is it? Don't know. Anyway, it's basically a standard 706 inside, looking at it, except for the fact it's got no dial, obviously. So I can put that back on now. Where's the bit gone? There it is. That's the bit that will normally go inside the case like that and hold a dial blank. I've still not managed to locate a dial blank for it, but I am working on it. So we've still not got that, but the rest of it, thanks to Steve, we have now sorted. So we can get that on. We've now got 2 screws up here that we can tighten up, hopefully. Like that. And there we are. The phone will sit like that. But of course it's not really meant to sit like that. It's meant to sit like that. And there you go. Put that back on there like that. So that's how it's meant to be. This TMC phone. I say thanks to Steve for supplying the bits. If anybody knows where there's a black dial blank for 700 series, and these are not the same as the dial blanks for the earlier Bakelite phones, of which there are lots about for the earlier Bakelite phones, but getting one for a plastic phone seems to be quite difficult. But if you know where there is one, I'd be interested. So that is fixed. How cool is that? So that's another one, and we've got that dial blank on it. That's another one basically done. The old conversion thing for the handset here, this bracket, these seem to be made out of brass and then chrome plate, and this one, a lot of the chrome plating is coming off. So one day, if I can find somebody locally that does re-chroming, I will take that off and get that re-chromed and redone. But for now, it's working. So how good is that? Right, what are people saying in the chat? Oh, Dominic says he's back. It says blue goes on T5, Andy. No. 4, because you've got to put the what's it in, haven't you? You've got to put the resistor in, doesn't it? Hang on, let me just get my thing up and have a look. Just 1 second. I shall try and find the relevant graphic. Where is the relevant graphic? I'm just looking for it. No, T6 is where blue goes, Christopher. I've got a graphic here, which I'm hoping I can show you. Right, as I say, there's a graphic. I mean, I know this is for an N1900 E244, but it's the same basically, except for where the handset connections go. But the sort of right hand half of it is the same. And you see, T4 is from your bell set through your resistor, then through a link, and then to the blue in the cord. So it actually goes up the blue in the cord to T6, through the link to T5, through the resistor to T4, up into the bell set, through the bells, and then back down from the bells onto T16, and then through the link to T17, then out through the white of the line cord again. So that's how it goes. But like I say, ignore the other side of that, ignore the left hand side of that, which is the handset things, because that's a different thing for some, just some N1900s. Instead of going handset red to T1, green to T2 and blue to T3, they go red to T1, green to T2, link to T3, and white to T10 as they all do, but then blue to T11, which is the oddball bit. And that's the oddball bit on that makes it different from a 706 or a 746. Right, okie dokie. Hope we've sorted that out. Spiggy is here. He says, I found a picture of the Queen on her ivory 746 at Windsor, and it has a dial blank. I imagine they probably would have dial blanks, because she's not going to dial her own number, is she, the Queen? She's just going to pick up the phone and somebody will be there when she picks it up, and she'll go, "One would like to speak to Charles, please," and somebody else will dial it for her. So yeah, I would imagine that her phones would be CB phones, with an operator waiting on her beck and call. You think the Queen dials her own phone numbers? No. Gembo says the resistor goes on T4 to T5 with a link in T5 to T6. Blue goes on T6. That's right, Gembo, I agree with you. Peter says you are a minute in the future to me, Wesley. Yeah, some of you may be a little bit in the future, or some of you may be a bit in the past. If you joined the stream late, YouTube has started doing a strange thing where if you join the stream after it started, it doesn't necessarily join you live. It sometimes joins you earlier in the stream, so you're never quite live. So stuff, if you type stuff in the chat, it will pop up and it'll be related to something that happened maybe 10 minutes ago. So do watch out for that happening. Try and make sure it does join you live. Peter says, if you're in the future, could you let me know next week's lottery numbers, please? Yeah, and me. Spig says, that's a cracking impression of the Queen, Andy. Thank you, Spig. One is pleased. Is it really good? Maybe I could get a job on Spitting Image. Is Spitting Image still on? Who does Queen on Spitting Image these days? It used to be Deborah Stevenson did it, didn't it? But I don't know who does it these days. Right, okie dokie. So we've cracked it then. That we've sorted that. Right, what else have we got? I've got something else here. Oh, here it is. Right. Right, let me put my phone back there. My phone. If you throw a hole, it's a fern. Right. I got this the other day. This was an eBay find. It's not a phone, although it is phone related allegedly. Have I shown you this before? Don't think I have. But yeah, I got this anyway. And if I put it under this camera, I will show you what it is. It says it's a 1960s boxed telephone timer call. For Finney Walker in the USA. When you look at the box, it actually says a Militaire Téléphonique made in Switzerland, a precision instrument made in the USA. So it's made in the USA. It's a precision instrument by so-and-so USA, but it's made in Switzerland. So it's made in Switzerland, but it's a precision instrument by somebody in the USA. And what it is, well, it is what you see. It is a thing that it doesn't screw in. It doesn't seem to screw in at all. You can just turn that round and turn it around and round. But that pulls in and out, and then there's coloured bars that go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then that's basically as far as it pulls off. It's relatively heavy and it shakes a little. And you can pull this cap off, and there is a bar, a steel bar in the cap that sort of engages in the end of here. And it's got all kinds of mechanism somehow in there, in the end of there. Right? And I've got no idea what this is exactly. I'm assuming that we are right in thinking it is something to time a phone call, but it doesn't work in any way, shape or form. So I'm guessing it's probably just that, in fact, it's been in the box probably for 40 or 50 years and it's all seized up. What I'm assuming happens is you somehow wind it, possibly just by pushing that down, and it ticks open to show how many minutes you've been on the phone. That's what I'm assuming you do. But as I say, nothing seems to happen with it. But so I'm assuming you probably need to get the workings out of it to see what's happening in there, but I've got no idea how you might do that. I don't think you can grab it and it will come out easy. And I get those, just grab the edges of it. Nope, nothing comes out, and it's all sealed together as well. So I don't want to force it and wreck something. But yeah, what is it? Who out there can tell me what this is, or what it does, or how it works, or whatever? It's called a timer call. And that's what it is. And I don't know about what this is for on the end. I'm kind of assuming it's for like dial the number in the phone, because it just sort of fits in there nicely, and then that shape of it holds it there. So you know, yeah, you can put it there and it stays there. So yeah, does anybody know what it is? And more importantly, does anybody know how to get it to work? Perhaps I need somebody who does watch repairs or something like that. But I just thought you'd like to see that, because I've got absolutely no idea what it is. Miguel said, could it be a timer? Perhaps a little clock. Perhaps a little clock oil will get it going. Yeah, that's a good idea, Miguel. Yeah. Peter says, take a photo with a phone and then do a Google image search for what it is. Oh yeah, that's another good idea. Yeah. Yeah. But no idea what it is. I just thought it was unusual, so I got it off eBay the other day. It's one of those things that will probably always be entirely useless and in the box, but well, there it is. It looks like it's been in an antique centre. It's got a label, like they put on things in antique centres, and obviously nobody's bought it, so they've put it on eBay and sold it to me. Yeah, so it's a timer call. So if you know what it is, this little thing, this end of it is plastic, and well, it's all plastic basically, but it's got metal gubbins inside it that I can't get out. So yeah, perhaps I need somebody who does watch repair or something to give me some idea of what it is in there. Right, so yeah, that's the vintage timer core. I shall put it back in this drawer where it was. But yeah, so that's the other oddball thing that we've had here recently. While I'm looking at phone stuff, I'm just looking if we've got anything for some of the other strange phones that we've got in recently, because we have got some strange things have arrived recently. Some very strange things. One of which you can see over my shoulder, over here, this shoulder, over there, behind me. Right, let me move this phone, now we know it works, this one. And we'll take a little look at this. This came in a couple of weeks ago, and I just showed it briefly last week because somebody asked about it. They saw it sat behind me. This is one of those incredibly heavy Bell system phones, but not from America. Not sure where these actually originated from. Somewhere in Europe, I believe, but they're not in their original condition. You find them with this in all kinds of different colours with these gold markings on here, and I read somewhere this is not original because all these phones got taken out of service and were then refurbished by somebody who put these gold things on to sell them on. And they're incredibly heavy because the body of the phone is metal. Supposedly you pick them up with this handle, but of course it's stupid because it's not balanced. Got the wrong camera on again. Hang on, where are we? That camera's the one I want. Yeah, you pick them up like that and it's stupid because it's not balanced. So it does that, you see, and you pick it up like that. Okay, when you do that, the sort of handset catches in it and stops it. But yeah, these are very, very strange, and there's something not quite right with the dial on this one as well, because it's all a bit wobbly. So I thought we'd have a look at why that is. So wobbly. So the first thing I need is a very, very tiny flat screwdriver. And by tiny I mean one of these jeweler screwdrivers, because there is around here a sort of circlip type thing we need to get out. Again, I think it's one that's not been out for about 1 million years. And is well stuck. There is a place to put the thing in, to put like a little screw or something in behind the circlip and move it out. But the trouble is, they've put the gap in the circlip in the space where you can actually get behind it, which is no use whatsoever to anybody. So they put the gap in totally the wrong place, because where you can get behind the circlip to lever it out, there is no circlip, because that's where the little gap in it is. So they've made a first class hash of that. Boing! Did you see where it went? It went over there somewhere. We'll find it later. But now I can take that bit of that. I thought it was a bit of paper, that, but it's actually a clear thing, and that is a paper disc. Then under there is another disc, a tin one this time, and then under there's a screw, you see, and it's all a bit. So can I just do that screw? Will that solve the problem? No. No. Who thinks this has been apart before? Somebody's had this apart, haven't they, and messed with it. So what happens if you take this screw out? I'm risking it here, because I'm not terribly familiar with this particular type of dial. But let's see what that does. Oh. Caught it. So there is your finger plate, and that is actually remarkably heavy. And again, I think it's plated. I think it may be plated brass. That. Then you get to the main part of the dial. How is that held into the phone? We'll have a look underneath, see what's happening under here. So that's now fell off the dial. That's that way up. Let's look under the phone. And can we get the main gubbins of the phone out? Well, these brackets here are held by two big screws that look far too big just to hold brackets. So I think if I take those two big screws out, I think that may release the whole of the phone. Now, I have done one of these before, but the thing about them is there's a lot of different versions of them. These old Bell phones. A lot of different versions of them. So this may be a time to use the magic screwdriver. So here we are, look. Put the magic screwdriver in there. Push down the collar. Continue to unscrew. and it doesn't work. I said last week, didn't I? I said these screwdrivers do not work, and I was right. They don't, basically. Have we undone that enough now? We can get this out. Aha, we have. Right, there's the other screw. So, there it is now. So that comes out like that. And everything is loose in this. Oh, that's loose as well on there. And that's all. Right, so there's your dial. No easy way of unclipping the dial from this phone, but it's the bit that's still in there is still loose, so it's these screws that are loose. That one and that one. Well, that stopped that moving about. Right, so I think I can now put the innards of the phone back in. See, this has obviously been messed with because at some point it's lost its case. I mean, not its case, its base rather than its case. Right, shall we try the silly screwdriver again? The theory of these is that you put it in the screw like that, show it like that, and it holds the screw. It may be better at putting them in than it is at taking them out, because it has got that, hasn't it? Although it has got it wonky. You can't tighten things up with it, it's just literally for putting them in and starting them. And it has got that in there, it's fell out, the thing. But now, back to my traditional screwdriver. And there we go. Like that. So now the dial is much more secure. And before we go any further, I think I'm going to get a bit of something and give that a bit of a wash. Just bear with me one moment. So all we've got here is a bit of kitchen towel, very slightly dampened with plain water, just to see if we can clean it up with that. Basically, you want to clean it up with the least detergent possible, because the more detergent you put in, the more chance you've got of rubbing the numbers off or something like this. So there we go. do that a bit, just to give it a bit of a clean. It's looking better already. There. So what then went on? So this went on next, and there's only sort of one place it will go. Now that is loaded on the spring now, and I think what you've got to do is there's a little stop up here, if you can see that there, a little black stop, and I think what you've got to do is put half a turn at least of load on this so it's there, then put the dial, the finger wheel back on, in the hope that it's going to latch on there. So rather than put the finger wheel back on in the position where you would think it should be there, and then it have nothing to bring it back sort of thing, I think you've got to put the finger wheel on there, the wrong way around, then sort of get it over that latch there, so it's like that, and now it's got something to go against. Then you can put this shape washer back on the centre of there, and your centre screw, and I'm hoping that when I do this we'll have somehow made the dial less wobbly, and we have. There you go, you see it rotates back as it should now. So I think we've cracked that bit. So I think the dial, I think we can call that dial mended. Now, what have we got here? We've got this funny bit of tin that seems to go on next. It's a bit on the strange side. It's almost like a bit of flattened out baked bean can there, isn't it? It's got 3 little tiny notches in it. Possibly correspond to 3 little tiny things in there, so it doesn't move around. And then we're probably going to need a new opal piece. Shall we see if we can clean that up as well? I'll see if we can clean that up. Bear with me a minute. A bit of soapy water on that, I think. Right, I've made that a bit better than it was. It's very similar to the ones you get in a 300 series here in the UK. And the 300 series ones in the UK go yellow. It's only a bit of thin plastic. I normally get a bit of an old sort of carton or something, you know, a plastic carton from the supermarket, and just use a bit of that plastic to cut new ones. But this one, it's not cleaned up too badly. Then we've got an interesting old dial label here, so we'll stick the original dial label back in for now, and you now might have a fighting chance of seeing it because I've sort of cleaned that up a bit. And then I need to know where that ring went to put it all back together, because it went pinging off across the ether somewhere. So I didn't even see where it went. I just heard it go ping. I think we'll have to search for that another time, that ring. But you get the idea. It's back together, and it's a lot more secure than it was. Another thing that's wrong with this is all bent out of shape. I'm not quite sure how you bend it back, really. It's really been sprained and bent out of shape, this. And it's also lost the receiver out the handset as well. So if anybody's got the element to go in there for one of these handsets, the element to go in there and the cap for one, again, I'd be interested, because it's not a part that I've got in stock, I don't think. But that goes on there, so we might soon be able to get that sorted out. So that would be good if we can get that sorted. So there's another one. I'll put it back over. Excuse me, sneezes. I'll put it back over here for now, but at least that is reasonably sturdy again. And we'll find the little clip by next week. We'll have everything out, and it went shooting over there somewhere. So we will find that little spring clip thing. Right, we will have a look what everybody's been saying in the chat in just a second. Just putting things back. I've got things all over my feet again at the minute. What's everybody saying? Peter says about the timer call, it says it's circa 1962. Each band is equal to 1 minute. Dial, press time, made in Switzerland. Tip of the dialer is stamped Swiss. Is it? Let's have a look. Tip. It's stamped with something well spotted. I can't read what it is though. my eyesight's not that good, but let's stick it under this camera and see if the magic macro lens can work it out. Let's have a look, hang on. Where are we? I've got to go the right way. The trouble is this camera has a light in it that tends to swamp things out. Can you see what that says? I can't. Can anybody read it? But there is something on there, I'll grant you. So anything on the other end? No, nothing on the other end, nothing on the gold end. Just it says this is a great novelty collectible. Should be in a telephone museum. I do hear ticking sounds when I have tried to time it, but I cannot verify. Peter says, YouTube filters URL, so I forwarded to your email some info on the timer call. Thank you, Peter. Have you got one then, Peter? Have you got one of these timer call things? I'm just reading through what people have been writing there. Yeah, it says about that phone behind me, over wherever it is, over here somewhere. It says, that looks like it was made by Bell. The diagram would have been on the missing base. I gave YT on these and the earlier versions a few years ago. Yeah, the thing about these phones is there's lots of different versions of them. As you've said there, and it's finding the right wiring diagram for the right version. And I seem to remember the one that I did before, I had to do an amalgam of two different wiring diagrams because I couldn't find the wiring diagram for quite the right one. So I did an amalgam of two and it worked, luckily. So it's an ongoing project, shall we say. So we'll have a look. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and 3D print a base for it, 3D print a plastic base for it. I think that's what I'm going to do. But I still need the bit of the handset. I don't know what handset the other one's got on it, because as you say, handsets get replaced and they do turn up with different handsets on. And I don't know what the other one that I've got has got on it as a handset. I would have to go and find it out and have a look to see what the handset of the, of the other one is. Sorry, I've still got this cough, haven't I? But we will find out. We will find out. But yeah, the timer call, it's good, isn't it? I quite like it. I quite like it. It's a as a strange novelty item. It says, I don't have one. I just did some sofa searching whilst watching you and the footy. So you're watching the football, watching me, and you're also researching the time of call at the same time. Crikey, talk about multitasking. I wonder if that email's arrived with the information on. Let's have a look. Internet email. Let's have a little look, and we'll see if that's actually arrived. Right, it may have. Right. Here's an ad for the timer call, indicating how to use it, it says. Right. Oh, so I was right about how you put it in the on the phone thing then. So here it is, the timer call. It says it's a new, easy to use timer call. Is a necessity in every home and business office, especially now that toll and long distance calls are dialed direct. Use timer call to dial the number and then press the top. The sturdy precision timer inside timer call takes over and tells you how long you've been talking. Helps avoid overtime charges. Timer call can be found at fine stores everywhere. Dial, press, and time. So I was kind of right. You press it down, and then it starts to pop right out after you've pressed it down. And it was $4.95. And that would actually have been quite a lot of money back then, wouldn't it? Well, what's this dated? It's got a date on it, this, if I could only see it. Yeah. It's dated 1962, copyright Finney Walker, 1962. You could also have electronic transistor clocks, miraculously accurate, run for a full year on just one flashlight battery. I'm kind of wanting a Finney Walker clock now as well. Yeah. But there is the timer call. $4.95, the perfect gift. So, oh, there it is, sorry. The timer call. Cuts phone bills. New easy use timer call. $4.95. A precision instrument by Finney Walker, made in Switzerland. Timer call, patent pending USA, Switzerland, France, England, Canada, West Germany, and Japan. I want a clock as well now. I want a timer call clock. I mean a Finney Walker clock rather. Clock price is subject to 10% federal excise tax. Wow. How cool is that? So, what you basically do, you start out then, apparently, with it in the out position, like that, you press it down and it starts to come out and dial. That's not making any noise at all, that's doing nothing. That's doing absolutely diddly squat, that. Maybe I could get somebody who does watch repairs. Just take a look at it. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's one for another day. But yeah, the Finley Walker timer call. It's more than what you find when you're searching on eBay. Just bored, isn't it? Yes. So, yeah. So anyway, we've got a few phones and that sorted today. Christopher says, Andy, have you seen the photos I sent of the last run train? Not yet, Christopher. I'll have a look now. I know you sent them, but because I looked on my phone. Oh, did you even? Hang on. Where are they? They're not in this email list. Hang on. What email did you send them to, Christopher? Oh, there, V-line. Here are a few pictures of me standing next to a standard gauge N-class train. Filmed it for the last local hauled passenger service to Albury with a N-class locomotive. Departing in the morning and night time for the very last time with N464, and there is a link to the video if you want to watch it. Right, I will try and put that up for folks to have a look at. Just a second. V-line, there we are. Right, so that's it. There is Christopher with his locomotive. The city of is it Geelong or Geelong? I'm guessing it's probably Geelong. N464. Pull in the passenger train. For the very last time. It looks like Christopher may have stolen the locomotive after they decided it would pull the passenger train for the last time. One of our locos is missing. Yes. So yeah. So Chris has been out on the railways there again, obviously. Right, we finally got there with that, didn't we? After we went through all kinds of ridiculous emails and stuff, and oh dear. Yes. Right, let me get rid of some of these things now that are open, because there's just tons of it. Right, that as well. Right. Okay, marvellous. Yeah, Hang on, what's happened there? Where it says, I think it's pronounced Jalong or Jaylong. Jaylong. I suppose you've got to do it with an Aussie accent as well, haven't you? Which I can't do. So, yeah. Right, okay. Now, some people have still got one eye on the football, apparently. Right, okie dokie. I think that is probably almost a wrap for today, folks. We've got quite a lot done. I've got my trusty desk phone repaired. Is it still working? Yes, it is. Yeah, still working. I got my trusty desk phone repaired. We've got the upside down 706 clone a bit closer to completion, thanks to Steve. Thank you very much, Steve, for sending those bits. And some of those line cores will be going on other phones as well over the next few weeks. So I'm still just looking for the dial blank. But I've scoured eBay today for one, couldn't find one. I do know somebody who's got some, but not a black one, so I might have to get a different coloured one and spray paint it. Which I know we don't generally spray paint phones in the UK, but they used to do it quite regularly in America, and somehow the paint stayed on them. So it is possible. So might have to have a little go at that to finish that phone off. Peter says, don't rap before the result. Why? Chris says, yes, it's pronounced Jalong or Jaylong. You can't tell me how it's pronounced when you're just writing it down, though, can you? Because that could be Jalong or Jaylong. I've got no idea. Dominic says he's getting everything ready for his trip to Scotland in a couple of weeks. Wave as you pass, Dominic, because you will no doubt be passing by here. Hope you have a good trip up there. Hope you go to Scotland on the one day of the year it's not raining. Are you going to the military tattoo? Are you going to the Edinburgh military tattoo? Big Clive's military tattoo. That he's working on at the minute. For those who don't know, Big Clive is a YouTuber who comes from the Isle of Man, does all kinds of electronic stuff, but he works as a lighting, would you call him a lighting technician perhaps, and currently he is staying in Edinburgh because he's working on the lighting for the Edinburgh military tattoo, which apparently is a phenomenal show this year, much bigger than it's ever been before. So he's there for a few weeks at the moment, but search bigclive.com or search Big Clive Live on YouTube if you want to know more about Big Clive, and you'll see where he is. Right. Let me get to what result. Where's it says the result is 2-1 apparently. Dominic is going up to Fort William and Skye is where he's going. I shall refrain from singing the Sky Boat song. Peter says, this will be a celebratory episode of Andy's Shed, the day the women won the footy. It will be more of a celebratory episode of Andy's Shed if the BBC stopped showing the footy and put the bloody repair shop back on a Wednesday night. BBC, you have been warned. I'm sorry, Peter, I just hate sport on television. I just find sport, and all sport, basically, when you've done sport, or even when you've watched sport, but particularly when you've taken part in sport, what have you achieved at the end of the day? You know, what have you contributed to the world? You've not made anything, you've not mended anything, you've not constructed anything, you've not made any kind of contribution to the world other than you've run around a field for a while. I know that's controversial probably, but yeah. Dominic says the trains don't seem very reliable up to Scotland, but I must go and sample the whiskey. Dominic says the GPO were issuing 706s the last time we won the World Cup. I think GPO under certain circumstances were still issuing 300 series last time we won the World Cup, Dominic. Yes, it's here. Peter says, I dislike sport generally, but this is a bit of national pride. Dominic earning bragging rights in the pub. And Christopher's also been and filmed the Red Rattlers again today. The Red Rattlers have gotten almost as much airtime as the women's football has just recently, so they've done quite well out of it as well, haven't they? There you go. Right, is that it then? Can we go now? Has somebody won something somewhere? I've got no idea what's going on. Right. Chris says board gauge N classes are still running. But the Albert N classes are standard gauge. Yeah, because you've got 2 gauges, haven't you? In Australia, it's a bit odd. We used to have 2 gauges here, thanks to Mr. Brunel. But yeah, that's another story. I'm sure. Yeah, that's another story. I'm sure Dominic will do it. We'll do an escape the shed when we talk about broad gauge one of these days. Dominic says it's a shame we have nothing electric preserved from the same time period in the UK. Yeah, electric trains don't tend to get preserved much because preserved railways don't tend to have electric infrastructure, and I think one should. I think if one of the preserved railways put up catenary and that, it would be a real coup, wouldn't it? It'd be something a bit different. Somebody should do it. There are 3 track gauges in Australia, apparently. Wow. How complicated would that be if they did that here? They can't cope with 1 here, Christopher. Can't cope with 1 gauge. So if they had 3, all hell would break loose here. Right. Escape the shed dicot, says Dominic. Yes, maybe, Dominic. Yeah, possibly. Still got to do one from Cryche, remember? About Mr. Brunton's Mechanical Traveller. Go and Google that, you'll be amazed what that is. Right, that is about as far as we go for today, ladies and gents. Thanks to everybody for taking part and for watching again. Remember, if you want to continue the chat and the conversation before next week comes around, you can always do it in the forum, gpotelephones.proboards.com, and you can always contact us via the website if you want to get in touch. andyshed.coldpress.net is the place to go there. And if you like what you see here, you could also become a patron as well. If you want to know the site for Patreon, it's here, patreon.com facebook.com/Andy's Shed is the place to go there. Right, that really is about it for another week. I'm quite pleased we've got 2 phones working now today that didn't work when I started the day, so we've done quite well today, and we've also done a little bit of work on this one up here as well. That still needs more doing on it. So yeah, we will carry on. Thanks again to Steve for sending all the bits, all the line cords, and these bag of escutcheons and screws and things for the 706s. We will be back same time, same place next week around about 6 o'clock with another Andy's Shed Live. What are we doing next week? I don't know yet. I've not decided yet. If anybody's got any requests for next week, let us know. But until then, have a fantastic week ahead, whatever you're doing. Try to stay clear of the old COVID, and we will see you soon. Bye for now, everybody.